Hey, this is Adam Torres, and I'm here to tell you that it has never been easier to start your very own podcast. At Mission Matters, our goal is to amplify stories that matter. That means we want to help you start your podcast because your story matters. We can do this in 3 different ways. 1, join our podcast school and take a free or paid course. 2, visit our resources page where we've already figured out what you need, such as where to host your podcast. Or 3, heck, we can even do everything for you through our podcast agency, including editing for cheaper than you can do in-house. Oh, and no contract, service is month to month. Get started by heading over to missionmatters.com and click on Start a Podcast. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Marketing Podcast, your source for all things marketing. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Josh Cary on the line. He's co-founder of Podmax and a podcast host over at and founder of Hidden Entrepreneur. Josh, welcome to the show.
I already love being here, Adam. Excited for a great conversation. Thanks for having me.
Oh man, and what a headline here. When I saw this one come across, I said, "How podcasting saved my life and grew my business" is the title of your talk and our theme today. And I'm excited to get into your story. So maybe just to kick it off, tell us a little bit more about how this started.
Well, today I'm known as the Hidden Entrepreneur, and that's simply because I spent over 40 years hiding. I showed up in every situation hiding my true talent, my ability, my skill. Everything that I was really capable of achieving remained hidden. Why, you might be asking, right? You could imagine that gets really exhausting really quickly. For one thing, I was desperately seeking the approval of others. You know the deal. I just wanted to be liked. But even deeper than that, what it came down to is I reserved everything that I was capable of achieving because not only did I want to be liked, I also had this fear that if you saw me coming to the table with something good, great, wonderful, amazing, that might shine a light on your insecurities and make you feel insecure. And if I was the reason for that insecurity, what might happen? You might retaliate against me. You might say, "Get out of here. Who do you think you are?" Or worse. And I didn't feel like I had the strength to stand up or stick up for myself. So I reserved everything that I was capable of doing. Crazy. Jump to today. I'm the proud father. I have 2 adoring children. I have a 7-year-old daughter, a 5-year-old son who quickly, early on in their young lives, I realized when I was playing with them one day, I realized, oh my goodness, I'm the one throwing the temper tantrum here. I'm the child in this circle. And I have some growing up to do. And at that moment, I made that choice. I swallowed the hard pill and said, I got to get my stuff together here, not only for me, but for them, and then subsequently for everybody in my world that I affect and we all affect. And here we are today, doing a lot better.
Man, it's an amazing story. And so now how does that bring us to podcasting? Like, how was podcasting that one thing that you were like, oh, I can do this?
Exactly. Well, the frustration most of my 40 years arrived when I was back behind closed doors because I knew darn well, and I argue that each and every one of us also know darn well what we're capable of doing. We just put it aside. We second guess. We don't want to rock any boats. But for me, I knew what I was capable of doing. So by not expressing that, it caused this disconnect, this anger, this frustration. So when I got that signal from my children and understood what really needed to be done once and for all, I said, you know what? I don't know what's next. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I think podcasting might be a great step. I've never had one. I've never done one before, but I was drawn to it. And I said, you know what? I feel I might be good at this. I can do this. I might stick with it. It might turn into something. Again, I trust it. I didn't know what, but I said it's going to lead somewhere. I also want to be able to document the journey through my episodes, through my shows, and least of which meeting every one of my guests. I knew that I would be smart enough to not only create but identify and grab any opportunity from meeting all these great people. So I set out to create a podcast. One episode became 2, became 3, became 5. Today, I have over 175 episodes recorded in about 2 years' time. So I really doubled down on it. And early on, one of my hosts after the interview said, you know what? I've been on a lot of shows before, and this was the best interview ever. So right there, I got external confirmation. But unlike my 40 years prior, where I was just desperately looking for someone to confirm that I'm capable without even showing it, in this regard, it took me coming to the table, being the person, expressing as the person capable for someone to then be able to acknowledge. And that's what I've learned. That's what it takes. You can't expect people to reward you in the way you want to be, quote unquote, rewarded until you are that person capable of doing it first. So that gave me confirmation to say, I'm in. I'm going forth with this. Now I can continue to be the person I'm capable of being and attract the necessary components around it. So the industry has really given me the platform to be able to creatively express myself in any regard. And that's what I love about podcasting. There are no rules. You can create any show any way you want in your regard and be the person through it. And it's really helped me create a lifestyle, a brand, a business, an event all through the podcast medium.
I love this story, and I'm a big podcast advocate, of course, and biased, and I love to bring other people's voices on here that also have grown their business through podcasts. Let's talk about that a little bit more, because there are a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, executives that listen to this podcast, and they're looking for ideas like, how did the podcast help with growing your business?
So first of all, there's the best kept secret that as a host, when you are before the mic turns on and even during and then after the mic with a guest, there's a bonding moment here that is truly like any other sort of networking opportunity. And you really get the opportunity to bond with the guests and to see where the synergy is and then go forth for whatever makes sense. So 175 plus episodes to date have really connected me with amazing people that, you know, Adam, as a host, it also gives you a tremendous amount of access that you may otherwise not have. So a year ago, I was at a podcasting event where I had the opportunity to record episodes of my show, and I was randomly matched with a gentleman named Eric Cabral, who I've never met before, but I interviewed him. And after the interview, he said, you know, I have a studio in New Jersey. We're both from New Jersey. Why don't you come down one day and check it out, and we'll see what's what. And cut to today, Eric and I are business partners in PodMax, which we can certainly get into. But that's a unique ongoing event and training program in the podcast space for entrepreneurs. And he never would have been inspired at that moment when I interviewed him afterwards to say, hey, why don't you come down and check this out? If again, I wasn't the person capable of attracting the circumstances, the people, the opportunities that I was already creating in my mind. So again, the podcast medium allows you to be your best if only you're willing to put in your best. Then so many ways of opportunity and creative expression flow through the medium.
Let's go further PodMax, because there's always people listening to this also that are looking for resources, and I think PodMax is a great company, and I love what you're doing there to support your community and also the podcast community in general and people that want to be more involved. So tell us a little bit more about the company.
So PodMax did start as a live event, but you know how this story turns out. we were forced to bring it online, which wonderfully so in some respects works just as well, if not better. We could achieve certain things virtually now that we sometimes couldn't in person. So today it's a virtual all-day event where entrepreneurs have the chance to record as a guest on multiple top shows relevant to their industry. And each hour you rotate into a different virtual studio and you're matched up with another show host to record. We find that that's a very effective, efficient way to get your message and story out there. And now in between the recordings throughout this one day that we provide, you experience a masterclass training, plenty of networking, and a keynote presentation. But even more than that, we found that people were loving the chance to buy in to PodMax and instantly get matched up with podcasts. So all that work is done for you, which is great. You don't have to go out and you don't have to wait for the recording day. They happen on our clock all in one day. So we found people were coming to the event saying, you know, I love this chance, but I've never really been on shows before. I know how great it is for my marketing and my brand to guest on shows, but I haven't done it, or I haven't done it much, and I know that I have some skill technique to learn. So we took that opportunity and we said, got it. We are now the training and education ground for entrepreneurs to not only record as a guest, but we fully prepare you for those recordings. So prior to the event, we have other sessions with you that help you identify, practice, and communicate that message and those stories. So by the time that the recording day rolls around, you are brimming with confidence. You know how to nail the interview. You know what to say, and it's a win-win-win all around.
What kind of feedback have you gotten from some of these events, and whether it be virtual or the in-person? Because, I mean, I think you're just cutting down the amount of time it takes. You're saving people so much time on how difficult it is, and you're providing them with access they maybe normally wouldn't have to the podcasters and to the podcasting community, because it's not the easiest thing to get on a show or to meet the right type of people that are going to match your niche and for it to be worth your time, too. And then you're also adding the component of the education on how to do the thing. I'm like, man, you're making it too easy for him, Josh. What kind of feedback have you gotten?
Thanks for noticing, Adam. Luckily, we've gotten that exact feedback. We look to do these on the calendar every month or two, and the feedback speaks for itself because first of all, the 8 hours, it's an 8-hour day, and all the hosts and the guests alike always say by the time that the event ends, oh my God, it flew by. But on paper, you're looking, oh my God, 8 hours in a Zoom room, no less. We make it work. We have figured out how to make it enjoyable, valuable, entertaining. So the 8 hours flies by. So we have all the recorded feedback on the way that not only the guests, but even the hosts. You might think, well, the hosts, what are they getting out of it? Because they're showing up recording. They gush as much as the guests do because we found the secret sauce. We found the way to put such a personality through this, make it entertaining, make it valuable, make it an extraordinary experience, hit on all these pain points like you've identified. And that's why the hosts return to work with us time and time again. And we have a pretty big number of guests that come back because like you've identified, you buy a ticket and you get all the legwork done for you. You just show up. You're already matched with 3 great hosts that are going to take care of you, are going to release in a few weeks your episodes, and it just becomes an incredible family and a community that just works well for everybody.
Man, that's awesome. So Josh, that being said, it's awesome having you on the show today. I love what you're doing for podcasting, the podcasting community, and to people that want to be shown on podcasts and to get their message out. If somebody is listening to this right now and they want to connect with the PodMax community and they want to get involved, and maybe they're a host and they want to talk more about participating from the host side, or they're a business owner or entrepreneur, they have a message out there or a book or something they want to get out there, and they want to be guests on more podcasts, I mean, what's the best way to connect?
Our website has all of the details. It's podmax.co.
Fantastic. And that's, again, podmax.co, yes?
Indeed.
All right. Well, Josh, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background. And really, I mean, what an amazing, phenomenal story of how you turned to podcasting and what it's done in your life and in your business. I mean, I love it. It's a great success story. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store, and if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Marketing, definitely give us a subscribe there, but also leave us some comments on the video. I'd love to know what kind of projects and things that you're working on. And Josh, thanks again for coming on the show.
Absolute pleasure. Great time, Adam. Thanks for having me.